All right, and Sandra Jo will look for title number 4 this evening, but we're ready to start the opening match featuring two very talented right-handed players, Cindy-Coburn-Carroll and Carol-Gianotti. And Carol-Gianotti will start on the left-hand lane, lane 35. One of the most talented and gifted athletes on the ladies' tour.
Carol-Gianotti works out physically. She's a very strong player. Does a lot of her adjustments at the foul line.
Comes up, opens with the 4 and the 9, and then all of a sudden it's the disappearing act on lane 35.
That was a huge break for Carol-Gianotti. Tripping out the 4 and the 9, which was a fairly good shot to begin with.
After averaging 233.5 on this pair of lanes, Cindy-Coburn-Carroll has qualified in the number 4 position. 13 career titles. And she's not quite as fortunate as she leaves the 4-pin.
Cindy really liking this pair of lanes today, particularly.
How do you shoot 275, though?
One bad shot.
I was going to say, there had to be a 6 or 7 count in there somewhere. One of the most consistent players in the history of women's professional bowling. And she worked hard on her cross lane spares in practice. No problem with the 4-pin.
Cindy standing very straight, 5-step approach, pushing up on her first step, very unusual, then out. Nice fluid, flowing arm swing. She's a very smooth player, gets low to the line, almost can't hear the ball go down. Nice roll.
Threw about 5 or 6 different pieces of equipment in the practice session to try to determine which one of the arsenal would work here this evening.
And elected a very shiny surface bowling ball to try and get it down the lane farther.
Went long, but then still hooked early, and she's left with the 310, the baby split in the second.
Ball did get down the lane. I think she pulled that left of her target. She'd been looking around 6, and she said if she needed to miss, she needed to miss right, not left.
4-time Bowler's Journal All-American, 4-time WIBC All-American. She's pretty much done it all. Never been named Player of the Year, though. Hung up a little bit in the shot and does not get away with the miscue as she takes the 3 off the 10.
Cindy's been working on her timing a bit and probably was a little late on that one. It'll cause you to hang up as you try and pull the ball through.
Don't blink or even change the channel, because if you do, you'll miss Carol-Gianotti. She will not waste much time in getting up and throwing a shot.
Carol doesn't want to think about anything. She just wants to throw the ball. That's where her athletic ability comes in. She's just trying to hit pins.
190 to 174, indicative of the medium to low scores throughout most of the week. This one rolls up high, and she's not quite as fortunate and leaves the 610. Spares were a factor this week.
It was refreshing to see this week. Spares, if you missed a spare, it virtually put you out of a match.
And speaking of matches, how do you qualify for the top 5 with a 10, 12, and 2 match play record like Carol-Gianotti did? Well, you do that by throwing quite a few strikes.
And she's going to go cross lane at this spare, which she's been shooting in that way all week. Carol flattens out her wrist, throws the ball perfectly straight at that spare, just sliding by the 6-pin.
The fluid swing of Cindy-Coburn-Carroll, high, and oh, the big 5 jumps up on lane 36. So what happened to that 230 average on this pair, Jan Schmidt?
Denny, she just doesn't look comfortable yet. She has pulled, it looks like, all 3 of her shots. She's not letting them out like she did earlier when I watched her today and yesterday.
One of the better match play bowlers, one of the better head-to-head players on the national tour. Of course, she has some years of experience.
Used to call her a tiger on television.
Oh, she still has a wonderful television record. You mentioned that she moved from 4 to 5 steps, and we asked Cindy about that big move in her timing.
Well, I switched from 4 steps to 5 steps about 2 weeks ago before this swing. The reason I did that was I had always had a little trouble with my footwork, having some hesitation, and this seemed to just keep my feet going and my swing going, and it resulted in a little better release at the line.
Her father, Frank, who normally practices with Cindy when she's not on the national tour, suggested that maybe she go to 5 steps and told me that it unlocked her swing and unlocked her game. Doesn't look like it right now, but obviously she bowled well this week to get to the championship round.
She did, and she's doing something new, and when you're under the pressure of television, new things sometimes don't come as easily as they did during qualifying.
It's the interesting thing about the Pro Tour. There's the qualifying, the match play, and the championship round. Shoulders shrug, the head shakes. She got away with one there, and she trails by 21.
Carroll with an open frame, still in the lead by 21.
Carol-Gianotti averaged 223.5 on this pair of lanes. High gain this week, 279. And this one rolls out in the pocket again, and she leaves the 4-pin. Well, you can see 2 different approaches here. Carol-Gianotti going with a duller surface bowling ball, hooking the ball a little bit more, and Cindy-Coburn going with a shiny ball.
Carol's looking for a little earlier hook. That's Carol's game. She sets the ball early. She goes for early hook, and the ball sets straight up into the pocket.
Had a chance to head back down home, down under to Perth, Australia after the last break. She leads by 21 at this point in time, and she doesn't get home that often. And of course, when you live about 6,000 miles away, it's nice once in a while to go home. I know her sister's going to be getting married here in the near future, so she's been involved in that project as she trips out the 4 once again. So one would think that she's perilously close to that 4-9, but we'll wait and see if it ever crops up.
She told me she had a great time at home. She said it was nice to relax, just see her family, see her friends. She said it wasn't long enough. She needed more time.
With her personality, I think Carol-Gianotti could have a great time just about anywhere at any time.
And she does.
Yeah, she's not afraid to have fun. Cindy-Coburn just turns around and did not like that shot at all. So a player that was striking regularly in practice is now befuddled by 35 and 36.
She's probably not sure right now if it's her or if it's the lanes, because she's not making a major adjustment. So I'm sure that she feels she's just not into this match yet, not making good quality shots. This was her first shot of the first shot of this frame. She's actually hitting right there about 8, sending it out close to 6, but she was actually sending the ball more to 5 or 4 during practice, getting a little farther right than that.
And a good look at our Brunswick bowler track. The first trip out, as we see, we'll be watching ball location and speed at 15, 27, and 45 feet. Kind of chart the player's progress. And there we go. A solid strike for Cindy-Coburn in the 6th frame of the opening match.